Yeah, good evening, everyone. I am Sheetal Sharma. I'm going to talk about programming with Python. Today, we will be learning about what is Python, what are the concepts in Python, and why we are using Python, how Python is beneficial for our different applications, what are the different advantages of using Python, right? Let us start with the session. So, first of all, whenever we have any programming language, we should understand what is a program. We should write a program. Now, while writing a program, there are a number of things, right? It could be written in any language. It could be Python, it could be C, it could be C++, it could be Java. Any programming language you may use for writing the instructions, right? Now, suppose what is a program? Suppose you want to add two numbers. You may be giving instructions to the computer. Now, how you are giving instructions to the computer? You write somewhere the instructions, the number of statements, the number of instructions, and then you compile it, and later on, the computer is going to show the results. Right. So, first of all, the basic part of this, while starting with any programming language, is a program. Now, what is a program? Let us understand. A program is a collection of instructions. Now, what are instructions? The number of statements. The number of statements. That is basically performing a specific task. Like, suppose I am taking an example of adding of two numbers. So, the task is to add two numbers, to calculate the difference between two numbers, to calculate the product of two numbers. You may take any specific task that is performed by that program. So you need to write the number of instructions. So that perform a specific task when executed by a computer. It is usually written by a computer program in a programming language. So I talked about in simple terms, a program is a set of instructions that is given to the computer and that is going to be compiled, and the computer is going to execute those instructions through a programming language. Like, suppose I am taking a Python programming. So I need to understand what are the keywords of Python, how to write a program, what are the input statements, what are the output statements to compile that, how to get the output, right? The basic unit of anything, of any programming language is when you write the number of instructions. So when you write the number of instructions is when you write the program. So the first thing is, this thing is, when you write a program, that means you are writing the instructions. The second thing is, let us understand how Python came into the picture. What is Python? Python is not any reptile, or Python is not any cobra or like this. It is a programming language. Right. So let us move to a simple history, a short history, a short brief introduction to Python. What is Python? A student asked to a teacher, "What is Python? Isn't it a reptile?" Yes, however, Python is also a programming language created by G.V. Rossum when he was working at Centrum Wixton and Informatica. Let me tell more about it. Now, this is basically the programming language was developed by G.V. Rossum. Everybody should know this thing. And the language was released in 1991. It got its name from a BBC comedy serials from 1917's Monty Python's Flying Circus. So you should know what is Python, how it came into existence, and why we are learning this, what are the applications of this, and the most important thing, that is, it is an object oriented programming language. Later on, I am going to tell you what is the difference between the procedural language and a object oriented approach. So it can be used to follow both procedural approach also, and object oriented approach of programming language. So basically, it can be used with both the things. So this is the, you may say, the advantage of Python. Let us move to the next part. Yes. So when we talk about AI, everybody understands, everybody is hearing this term, that is AI, artificial intelligence. Nowadays, there is a language, that is Python or R programming, that can be used to implement the programs that are basically writing for AI enabled systems. Like suppose I'm writing a machine learning algorithm using a what? Using a Python approach, right? So what is that? Let us see what are the advantages, what are the uses, why Python is becoming popular among all the programming language. Because the first advantage, I would say, even a kid can write a program in Python. Why? Because Python syntax are so simple, right? And we will, in later classes, we will be learning how to write Python programs, how to write simple instructions like this, right? And let us start with the advantages of this thing, that is Python. First is, it is easy to learn, read and maintain. Why? Because the keywords, the statements that is used in Python, they are very very simple, right? And the structure of the program is very simple. They need not have a perfect or expertise programmer to have into like how to write a program. No, it is like whenever anyone uses Python, it is very very simple, and it is very very easy to use this. So the first advantage is easy to learn, read and maintain. The second is, it has a broad standard library. Means there are plenty of packages, there are inbuilt functions. You need not have to learn, you need not have to write the number of instructions to the computer to solve the variety of problems. They all are coded in the packages. So this is very good, very, very, I would say, because I am using this programming language, everything is inbuilt. You just need to know the syntax of that particular keyword, and you can use that of that particular function, right? Next advantage is interactive mode. Basically, when we write the programs in any programming language, like C or C++, there would be number of things, like once you write it, then you compile it, and then you check out the results. Whereas in this Python programming, it gives you number of modes for running the your code, right? Like suppose I am talking about, it is once you write the statement, and once you click on the run part, automatically on the same window you will get the output. Need not to move or switch between windows or like this, it is in an interactive mode. So the user is basically, whenever writes a program, they are very very keen to know the output, whether my output is correct or not, how I am going to write this output, and how I am going to get the output. So it this is very very important. Like whenever we write the programs, we need to compile it, and on another window we will be getting the output. So in this we will be learning about this, like on the same screen you will get the output also. Next advantage of Python, I would say, portability and compatibility. What is portability and compatibility? You can run Python programs of any version on any platform. It is compatible. Yes. Yes, it is compatible. Python can run on a wide variety of operating systems and hardware platforms. Need not to worry about the compatibility of different platforms, has the same interface on all the platforms. So this is another advantage why we are learning, why we are basically applying, why we are writing programs in Python. Next thing is, next advantage I would say is extendable. Extendable means like whenever we write the programs, it can be customized, right? Like suppose we can add low level modules to the Python too. It is not about like we are only using that, we can extend that also, right? These modules basically are helpful to the programmer to customize their tools to be more effective, to be more efficient, I would say, right? So this is again one of the major advantage of Python. It is not the last, I would say. The databases and scalable, there are number of advantages whenever you use Python. You're able to understand like why we are using Python, why a machine learning to why we are using Python to implement machine learning algorithms or deep learning algorithms. It is very very helpful because it is very simple actually. So databases, like how to import the databases. It could be any type of databases, commercial databases, open source databases. They can be incorporated into our programs. They can be imported into our programs, and we can basically analyze the code using different libraries. We can plot the graphs as well. So this is very helpful language, or you may say you can without any previous knowledge of any programming language, you may start with it. This is because this is very simple to use. Let us move to the next topic. What are the applications of Python? It is not about only artificial intelligence. It is not only about software development. There are behind that there are number of applications where Python is used. So the first is web and internet development. It is one of the application of Python. You may build applications for web and internet development as well. Business application, number of applications are developed that are basically specific, maintaining the specific task. In games also, gamification, yeah, games also it is used, Python is used. Database access is one of the major advantage of Python. And why? Because we are basically analyzing, we are basically checking out the things using Python. We are just importing the data sets. It could be CSV file, it could be Excel files, and we can analyze the data. Software development, everybody knows about how our softwares are developed, how programs are written. So this is again one of the application. And another application is desktop UI GUI application. So basically these are the applications, and you may say how Python becomes so popular among these number of applications. Like it is, everybody knows Python, only machine learning, like you are going to write a machine learning algorithm, that's why you are using Python. No, you may be writing, you may be developing a software where Python can be used. So there are a number of applications that can be developed by Python. Now, now we have like understood about what is Python, what is the history of Python, who developed Python, and what are the applications of Python. So let us start with the first part, very simple part, that is what is a package. When we talk about a package, it is not any gift, it is not any you may say a bag, it's a library. Let us see what is a package. Hello ma'am, where can I find the history textbook for class 9th? Hello, this library is completely sorted according to the subject. Yes, you just need to look for the history shelf and you shall find it. This is so good. Now I don't need to search the whole library. Why? Because it is already segregated into a one row, into a one separate almirah. So in a package also, everything. Like if I'm talking about a numpy package, so it is dealing with numerical python, so it is dealing with numbers. So a separate package is maintained through which I can assure, like I can use all the functions on numbers. So I may be imported this package to access the number library. So there are number of packages we will be reading. We will be going through a brief introduction of what is a package. Yes, so these are the number of packages which we have in Python and they are widely used. Let us see one by one. The first package, that is NumPy. NumPy is numerical Python. What is NumPy? NumPy is numerical Python. Basically, why we use this package? A package is created to work around numerical arrays in Python. So when we have to manipulate among numbers on arrays, we are going to import this package, that is NumPy. Handy when it comes to working with large numerical databases and calculations around it. So it is a very good package for handling the large numerical databases. This is one of the advantage of NumPy. Next we have is OpenCV. Now when we talk about OpenCV, it is Open Computer Vision. So why it is we have this package? Basically in computer vision we are going to deal with images, right? Like on a camera we have the different features. You click on edit, you can crop the image, you can maximize the image, you can put different effects to the image, you can resize the image, you can crop the image. So different processing can be performed on an image using the package, that is OpenCV, Open Computer Vision. What is that? Let us see. An image processing package which can explicitly work around images and can be used for image manipulation and processing, like I told you, like how to crop the image, how to resize the image, how to edit the image, a number of functions can be performed. Then we have another package, very important package that is used for business applications, that is Matplotlib. Now in Matplotlib, it is basically it is used to plot different graphs. Like suppose I want to draw a bar chart. So I may be importing one data set and I am going to use that data set for plotting the bar graph. Or I may be using scatter plots to check out the relationship between two variables. We will be doing step by step each of the packages. So let us understand first of all, what do you mean by NumPy? What do you mean by OpenCV? What do you mean by Pandas? Very important package. Matplotlib, a package which helps in plotting the analytical. I told you the numerical data in a graphical format. Like you plot different graphs. Now what are graphs? Like suppose I am using bar graph, I am using pie charts, I am using scatter plots, I am using line charts. So there are a number of graphs that can be drawn with the help of the library, that is matplotlib. Another package, that is NLTK. NLTK is whenever it is basically meant for a domain, that is natural language processing. It is one of the most commonly used package for NLP, and NLP is one of the domain of AI. NLTK stands for Natural Language Toolkit and it helps to perform the tasks that are related to textual data. Means whenever you have to manipulate, whenever you have to perform the tasks that are related to understanding of any language, processing of any language. In that case, we will be using the package, that is NLTK. Okay, now let us move the last package, that is Pandas. Now Pandas is, what is Pandas? Data analysis for Python. So when we talk about data analysis for Python, basically it is when you have a huge data set. Like suppose I want to forecast the weather, whether today rain will happen or not, today rain will come or not. So I need to manipulate whenever I am going to train my model. I am going to have a 10 years of data. So and I am going to analyze that data. So how I am going to analyze that data? I may be importing that data set into my program. So which library, which package I'm going to use, that is pandas. So pandas are basically helpful in manipulations with Excel sheets, databases, CSV files, comma, separated values. So they are simple format files for having the data sets. A package which helps in handling two-dimension database table in Python. So this is very important package among all the packages like NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib. These are the very important packages. It is useful when we need to work with data from Excel sheets or other databases, or you may have the data that is maintained in CSV file. Like suppose from where you are going to download the data. It is through different websites. So we will be understanding later on in later chapters how we are going to import the data set. Now let us move to next topic, that is understanding of NumPy. Now I have already told you about the number of packages. Because NumPy is very important package, I am giving you a brief introduction to that. NumPy, which stands for Numerical Python, it is the fundamental package for mathematical and logical operations on arrays. Now, arrays is numbers. You are maintaining a list of items and you are performing number of manipulations on array. So, it is how it is done. It is done with the help of the package, that is NumPy. It is commonly used package when it comes to working around numbers. Yes, though it is very common package. Everybody knows how to use NumPy, and it is very simple to import this package and use this package. We will be learning in later chapters how we use NumPys, how we use pandas, how we use matplotlib for plotting the graphs. So NumPy gives a wide range of arithmetic operations around numbers. So whenever we want to perform the manipulations, arithmetic operations on numbers, we will be using NumPy. If I want to perform manipulations on image, I will be using another package, that is OpenCV. If I want to manipulate among, like I want to perform something on textual data, so I will be using NLTK. So based on your particular data set, based on your specific application, you need to segregate the package as well. So Python gives a very good opportunity for using these packages. Like I have already told about this thing, history. So this is history is having all the books of history only, right? And in this how we have related, this is one almira is containing numpy, another almira is containing the functions of matplotlib, another almira is containing the functions of opencv, another library is containing the functions of nltk. So this is how they have segregated the different functions among libraries. So this is very important. Like earlier we were using some packages, but this is not how they are segregated. So Python gives us the opportunity to segregate the functions among different libraries so that they can be imported, they can be imported in our program. And then obviously when we import this program, we can easily plot graphs if we want to plot graphs. If we want to have manipulations on data set, we can use pandas. If we have manipulations on textual data, we can have nltk. If we want to have manipulations on images, we can use opencv. So this is how they have segregated, they have maintained one library, and under that library we have different packages, right? So before moving to use the concepts or start with Python, everybody should know, like whenever we have to have a program, we should have steps of that particular. algorithm, right? And how to show the steps of that particular algorithm using a flowchart, you can depict it. So, a flowchart is a graphical, pictorial representation of any algorithm, right? And what is algorithm? Suppose I want to add two numbers. I am going to have its number of instructions that I have told you. Like a program has a number of instructions. So this is how we can, like, if I want to represent that algorithm in a graphical way, right? I may be drawing through a flow chart. So you should know there is one symbol. There are different controls of that flow chart. The first is you have start and end terminal. So this is the terminal box. The next is input and output box. When you have to take some input or when you have to show some output. So you may be using a symbol that is input and output. Then we have process. Process is intermediate instruction, or you may say a simple statement. This diamond or rhombus, this is a decision making node, right? And in between we have different connectors or edges, you may say. That is how our information flow through the flow chart, right? So this is what our flow chart is, and what are the controls that are available in a flow chart. Now taking an example of this, like I want to print 1 to 20. Now, how to write a program? What is an algorithm? How to depict it through a flowchart? Let us see this part. Suppose I want to print 1 to 20. First of all, I am going to write one algorithm, right? So step 1 is initialize x as 0. So these are the simple pseudocode. You are not going to use any programming language in this. This is a simple series of steps. Whenever you want to like print any the numbers from 1 to 20, you initialize one variable, you increment that one that variable, and you print it. So this is how our other numbers are printed. So basically, to move into the detail of this, you should know the basic concepts of programming, right? This is the simple thing I want to show you. Like, you write number of instructions and how to depict it through a flowchart. That is, you give it a start node that is in a circular shape. The second is you that is intermediate statement. It is described in a rectangular boxes that gives you basically intermediate steps. Then whenever you want to show the input or output statement, you may be using this part that is showing some output, that is a rhombus. A rhombus is used for this. Then you have diamond. Diamond is basically diamond shaped thing is basically gives you the decision making node. It's a decision making node, right? And this decision making node is going to give you like whether to perform the next step or not. So it is segregated into two parts. Because it's a decision making node, the value may be true, the value may be false. And then once you have all the statements are completed, then you come to an end. So this is how we are using a flow chart, right? So in this lecture, like, I'm going to conclude this lecture. If I'm going to conclude what we have learned about what is a, in simple terms, what is a program, why we are learning Python, what are the different applications of Python, even the advantages of Python, and what are the different packages, what is package, what are the different packages that are available, and what are the uniqueness of each package, how they have segregated, how basically they are come into the picture, like why this package is meant for numbers, why these packages are meant for graphics. So they have segregated the domains in different packages, and in different packages they have defined the different functions. And later, the first and simple concept of pseudocode, that is flowchart, or like how to depict the algorithm using flowchart. We have gone through that. What are the controls of flowchart? In the next coming lectures, we will be learning about NumPy. We will be learning about the basics of Python, like what are variables, how to define variables, what are comments, what are statements, arithmetic operations, number of things we will be going through it in the coming lectures. And the most important thing is how to implement, how to write the programs, how to, first of all, how to install Python. The most important thing is how to install Python. So I'm going to give you small lectures on, like, another lecture. We will be having installation of Python, how to install Python on your system, and that too I'm going to practically show you how you are going to a website. You have a free downloader to install the Python. You may install the Python. Then we will be going through the basics of Python. So in the coming lectures, again we will continue with it.